Hello everyone, I am Liz with Red String Readings. This is my first video here on YouTube, and I thought I would start it off with a horoscope outlook for all the signs. I've got my oracle deck right here underneath some nice white quartz. Today I'll be using the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. I'll have the name in the credits and also in the description box at the bottom. And I love this deck. I thought it would be a great way to start off because it's a little bit, it is different. It is not a traditional tarot deck. It is just a oracle. So I'm going to start off with doing our horoscopes. Aries, looks like you're going to have an interesting month. Nothing's ever boring with you guys, is it? So, right now, you've got coming up ahead, what you need to be aware of is a need for balance. In November, we've got coming into the holiday season. We're going in the United States, we've got Thanksgiving, and then we're going to be rolling right into Christmas in December and New Year's. So there is a tendency when we are faced by a whole lot of family holidays to kind of circle around and be more focused on ourselves. So we've got vanity right here. And you need to be aware of that tendency towards being self-centered. This is not the time of year for that. There is always a time for being self-centered. We have to take care of ourselves every now and then. But we have the balance card to remind us that sometimes we just have to strike a balance between what we want and the needs of others. And sometimes it takes a little work and a little bit of practice. So please don't let your impatience get the better of you. You've got a lot of work ahead of you this month. If you can keep that balance, you can keep your vanity and your impatience in check, then you could have a very rewarding month coming up ahead, Aries. All right, Taurus. So the soulmate card isn't necessarily about finding your other half in a person or romantic sense, but it is finding that which completes you and that which makes you happy. And not just in a superficial, transient state like a night out on the town. The soulmate card is finding peace within yourself and happiness. Perfection, however, does remind us that striving to reach perfection can only tire us out. There is no such thing as perfection. You look at media and it shows us all these perfect images of people that we could never aspire to be. Even the models aren't that perfect. Thank you, Photoshop. But perfection can be a good goal, but don't make it the end all and be all. What you really need to do is be a little more, we have impartiality right here. Let's take a look at that. Impartiality shows us just going through and taking things at an even weight. I mean, this character right here, they've got 2 cans of paint, but they're of equal weight and they're balanced like justice. So you need to just take things evenly and weigh them for what they are. Don't just assume that everything is going to bring you to this completion of the soulmate, it will find you and you will find it, or that person perhaps. But forcing it will only leave you in the race for perfection. And perfection is, like I said, unattainable. Just take things for what they are, and you will find that which makes you happy and that which completes you. All right, Geminis, it looks like we're going to be having an interesting month. We've got expansion, renewal, mysticism. And as a diviner, you know I'm always going to be fond of mysticism. But at the same time, you know, there's a lesson to be learned with mysticism. The tendency to cloak things, hide things, obscure. And it's not necessarily what's called for in all situations. So try to be a little more direct, even when you're tempted to to hide things a little. And it is, despite the fact we're in the dark part of the year, we've got renewal coming on. I mean, we just went through Samhain, and actually I am filming this on Samhain right now. So this is a time for renewal, for starting over. We'll be growing out of the darkness. You plant bulbs in the fall and you leave them deep in the ground, and in the early spring you have buds. And we have expansion. Expansion gives us growth. It gives us new opportunities. And I mean, the growth ties into the renewal. Mysticism is just, I think, going to be a reminder not to be too cagey about it. When we're growing outward. We'll have more room for more people, more room to just be ourselves. Oof. Cancer. Cancer, you need to relax a little bit. All work and no play makes the crab a very, very dull astrological sign. What you do, your work, your hobbies, I know that they make you feel accomplished, and I know that you like sharing that with other people, but you're going to fall prey to the sin of vanity. Well, not sin. It's good to be proud of yourself, to be honest. Everyone should be proud of themselves. But it's going to take control a little bit of you, and you need to be careful, because if you allow that to happen, it will only bring you grief, because we have grief right here. And grief is when things end suddenly. Grief is when things that we want to keep hold of go away. So there's a potential for loss, lost opportunities, lost relationships. Don't let your workaholic ways be what drives a wedge between you and what you actually want to achieve. And don't let your vanity be your defining characteristic. This is a good time, this coming month in November. It's a good time to really assess and take a look and try to avoid that grief. Okay, Leo. Okay, Leo. So we have acceptance, despondence, and facade. Let's look at facade. With the facade, it is the face that we put out to the world. I mean, it's what we want people to see. It hides a lot. And I know the Leo is very prideful, and that he really wants people to see him at his best, or her at her best, or any gender neutral pronoun of your choice. But sometimes that facade can be a little bit too much. Sometimes it can hide things when we really need to talk about things, that talk about what's bothering us, what our hopes and our fears are. Don't be afraid to open up, Leo. Don't be afraid to let people in. You've got a well of sadness in you. You have this potential to really let it overwhelm you, the despondence. Don't let it do that. Feel that sadness and then work your way through it. Don't let it become your ruler. Accept it. We have acceptance right here. Sometimes things aren't exactly the way that we want them to be, but there is so much beauty still left. And there's always December. Okay, Virgo. So we have forgiveness, expansion, and completion. Let's look at completion last. We have expansion. Talked about that before with Gemini. You know, it's this growth. It could be physical, it could be spiritual, it could be a hobby that you've always wanted to get into, and suddenly it's an opportunity for you to really enjoy and grow within. And you've got forgiveness. Sometimes the person who needs to be forgiven is yourself. There's a quote, forgiveness is giving up all hope for a better past. So you really need to forgive yourself, forgive others, forgive the past for not being the way that you want it to be. And you will get that closure. I mean, you've got some completion coming up here. And this is a really depressing looking card, I know. But with the expansion, the personal expansion that you've got coming up, it'll give you an opportunity to really accept things, to put a final chapter on whatever it is that's been bothering you, that's been giving you a sense of grief, of anger. There's anger there, and that's why you need to work on your forgiveness. All right, Libra, I just want to point out that you couldn't see in the cut, but I was shuffling the cards and we had a heck of a jumper, and it was actually the miracle card that jumped out. I continued to shuffle, even cut the deck, and this was, as you can see, the first one that popped out. So this is definitely going to be your most important lesson, most important help within the month of November. But let's take it within the context of the two beneath it, because we have workaholic and we have isolation. So you really need to be aware not to isolate yourself within your work. I know that what you do is important to you and that you really want to always do your best. And I see that right here with the workaholic, but also you don't want to isolate yourself within it. I mean, no man is an island, and no one truly becomes a success without others. So keep that in mind. And also, I mean, we've got miracle right here. And at first, it seems almost like a non sequitur to the two beneath it. But at the same time, I mean, miracles come when we least expect them. and when we're feeling the most alone and when we most need them to come to us. So remember that every day there are hundreds of miracles, great and small. I mean, just the miracle of the changing of the seasons. I mean, it's amazing how all these things happen around us. And you have so much greatness to really perceive them. And once you can really embrace the small miracles, you'll start to see larger and larger miracles in your world. But please remember that there are all kinds of miracles. There's love, there's friendship, there's just companionship. It's amazing how you can find somebody at the strangest turn of fate, and they're the kind of person that you need at just that moment. I have some friends that are that way. So that's why you got this warning of isolation and workaholic, because you won't experience those miracles if you let them overwhelm you. Okay, Scorpio. Scorpio, you've got an interesting reading here. We got trickery, grief, and perception. So the short of it is that you should be very careful before entering into any contracts or any arrangements, agreements with people in this month. Not to say that you shouldn't do it at all. As Scorpios, you are very much aware of how multitudes can lie beneath the surface, and so your perception is greatly honed, a lot more than some other signs. So just be aware of that, because people will be up to no good with trickery, and if you for some reason decide to trust the wrong person, it can bring you into a little bit of grief. So just be aware, be cautious, be yourselves really, and everything should work out just fine in the end. However, don't be paranoid. Sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between justified suspicion and paranoia, but generally paranoia is when you start alienating people for no good reason. So be aware of that, and you should be good. All right, Sagittarius. So this coming month, you're going to need to keep your head about you, because there's going to be a lot of gossip. There's going to be a lot of people content to let the status quo be. However, you need to keep your head about you and make the right decision in each situation. I'm not saying that you need to be holier than thou around anyone else, but at the same time, you just need to make careful decisions. Make sure you're making the best decision for you and for what you want to be doing this month. We've got wisdom as a reminder that you are perfectly capable of making the right choice. We've got gossip. Gossip is always everyone's favorite pastime when they've got nothing better to do. And we have complacency. The thing about complacency is accepting how things are without actually making any effort to affect change. You might have the ability to affect change, but you don't. You just go forward. Hence the acceptance of status quo. But you have the wisdom to see through that, to see past it, to see your own abilities to affect those changes. And so maybe that change could be in not listening to gossip. All right, Capricorn, you've got impatience, insecurity, but you also have balance. Now, balance, what it teaches us is that we need to keep things on an even keel instead of letting other things control us. We've got insecurity and impatience. Impatience, sometimes it does bring interesting things. Sometimes if you just rush right into things, the unexpected happens and it can be wonderful. But also, when you rush right into things, you haven't had a chance to prepare, and maybe things don't turn out like they should. But we also have insecurity right here too. Sometimes when we let our insecurities control us, it means that we don't voice things that we should, that we don't say, hey, can you help me out with this thing that I'm working on? So don't let that insecurity stop you from planning, from getting help, and from moving forward. Use your abilities. Don't be isolated. Use your abilities, use everything around you. Draw, like from a traditional tarot deck, like the Magician. Draw from all around you to really become the controller of the situation. November, really just watch out for that this coming month. All right, Aquarius. So it looks like you're going to have a bit of a rough month. Sorry to say. There's going to be a little bit of rejection. You got rejection right here. Discovery. And self-worth. Now, it's important, especially when you have a card like rejection, to really look at the surrounding cards with it, because nobody likes to be rejected, it's true. But at the same time, if it's a constructive rejection, if someone rejects a piece of art or a piece of writing, or you don't get the job that you want, if they at the very least give you something constructive along with it, it becomes something almost positive. You can really look within yourself and your peace and really find something that maybe you need to work on. And that can become your discovery. Now, and also, it does hurt, and it isn't the kind of thing that really helps your self-esteem. It's true. But we've got the self-worth card, because no matter what, you need to just hold on to your sense of self and your self-worth, because you are worth so much more than this rejection. Rejection is a transient sensation. It is something that you can learn from and you can grow from, and you can really build yourself into something stronger with. So, yes, this won't be fun, but it can become a really positive experience for you. Okay, Pisces, you got confusion, service, and enlightenment. And it's fitting that enlightenment would be up on top of here. It comes up out of confusion, working our way out of confusion. And also service. Service means really, it's sacrificing part of yourself, your time, your abilities in order to help others. So it's a selfless act. And it really helps you to consider the greater picture and your effect and your place in others' lives. And from that comes enlightenment. And enlightenment means a lot. And it means different things to different people. So to some people, maybe it means an understanding of God or whatever divine being you may choose. To others, it's just an enlightenment to our own true self. It's really an understanding that brings you peace and calm. And so you're coming into November with a lot of confusion. There's a lot of things that have just been happening all around you. And maybe there's a lot that you're taking on, or that's just demanding your attention and time, and really you're helping a lot of people too, and you're working with people. Probably you've got multiple jobs, but just take a breath, because this month is going to be really good for you. You're really going to see a change in yourself, a change in your thinking, and it's going to be beautiful. And I will see you, all of you, in December. So that was my first horoscope outlook using the Chakra Wisdom Oracle. One more time, show you the back of the cards if anyone's interested. And if you have any questions or comments, the comment box should be open unless somebody ruins it for everyone else. And you can find me on Tumblr, and you can find me on Store Envy. You can find my Facebook page. You can find me on Google+. I love hearing from people. I love meeting new people. So please reach out to me, and I will see you all later. Great. Thank you.